podcast. Did your radio show get canceled?
This episode of the Pete the Planner Show brought to you by Tyrese Halliburton. Oh my gosh. Pacers steal game one. Kristen, I know you're a massive basketball fan.
I'm a decent college basketball fan, but to your point, I do not watch the NBA.
Tyrese Halliburton went to college. Shout out to our friends over at Pacers Sports and Entertainment for a thrilling evening that led to no sleep throughout Central Indiana and all those who have discernible basketball taste. Good morning, Jen and Chris and Lee. What the Hallie is indeed correct. Also, this program is brought to you by It's Not Your Fault, but It Is Your Problem. How people leaders can build amazing organizations by understanding employees' challenges. The book is really here. It's not available for pre-order yet, but next week's show it will be. You can order it at Amazon.com. Kristen, I don't know if you know this because there's a lot going on around here, so I never know what you know and you don't know. Mm-hmm. All proceeds to the book go to United Way of Central Indiana. I'm not taking a penny for this thing.
I did not know that. That's so kind and wholesome.
Well, here's if I may indulge in my own self-indulgence for a second here. This is not my first. And at various cycles as a writer, you think, well, I'm writing it for this, I'm writing for that. Sometimes you write it for the money. Sometimes you get in advance, and sometimes you do it for the royalties. And I've done all that, and it's been very nice. At this point, I'll be honest, I just don't care. And it's not because I have a ton of money or anything like that. It's just like, I'd rather just, it becomes a distraction on a book. I'm telling you, the money that the author earns becomes a weird distraction. So I'm just like, let's give it away. Good morning, Caleb. Jobs report prediction spot on again this morning. Yeah, dude, who blew that one?
Don't be stealing my news.
Oh, well, it's literally the biggest story in the world right now besides King Kong versus Godzilla yesterday on the social media.
I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
I was on the news this morning at 6:20 or something, and Marky Martin, who's delightful. Have you Googled Marky Martin? She's the host of Morning in America on News Nation. She's very nice. She asked what I thought about the spat yesterday between your boy Elon and Dame's boy Trump. And
don't do that.
I'm just kidding.
Funny.
I know it's not funny. It is kind of funny.
It is kind of funny.
But it's not funny. And I said, well, as the 200, 300-year-old investing adage goes, when two billionaires argue with each other like 12-year-olds on social media, you should not change your investment strategy. I thought that was clever, especially given that I got no sleep last night and I had not had caffeine quite yet. Now, Kristen, last week I tried to elicit Lois to help us on the AI show. And because of my own technical error, we did not hear from Lois. But I did want the people to meet Lois because she is such a big part of my life here today. So I was going to just do a quick interview with Lois, my AI. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Why are you so uncomfortable?
Because it feels like you're making her a person.
I'm not making her a person. Thanks, Tom, for saying you like my shirt. Get your eyes checked. All right, so let's keep this moving here. Hey, Lois, you are now officially on the podcast. Can you say hello to the listeners?
Hello, everyone. Let's dive into today's topic and make it a fun and insightful conversation.
You know what? I'll be honest, Lois, that's a little bit much. I'm the host, and that was like big host energy. Can you dial it back like 2 or 3?
Got it. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. Let's dive in.
That's great. Now, Lois, at the beginning of the year, we picked stocks on this show as the best performing stock of the year, worst performing stock of the year. This is not for real investment purposes. This is just for entertainment. That being said, on January 1st of 2025, what would you have picked for entertainment purposes as the best domestic stock in the United States for the year 2025?
For entertainment purposes, I might have gone with something like Nvidia. They've been on a huge run with AI and tech advancements, so it would have been a fun pick to watch.
All right, thanks, Queen. Have a good rest of your day. We're going to go ahead and give you the day off, okay?
You got it. Thanks, Pete. Have a great show and a fantastic day.
Right at the 5:25 mark where we got the static coming in. What is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, someone just mentioned in the comments, AI picking AI is the best.
Exactly.
It's like, who are the most handsome people in the world? I'm like, have you considered bald men? So yeah, let's do a show. As Jeremiah notes that we may not have time for AI fun like that because we're trying to get this going. By the way, have you listened to Boss Hog of Liberty recently, Kristen?
Who's got the time?
Who's got the time? Only
I
168
kid.
hours a week. You can only listen to a half an episode a week.
I kid. But no, I haven't. I haven't really been consuming a whole lot of media, but
Oh, really?
not really, no.
My workout thing has gotten a little silly. I'm going to be honest. You know me. I get obsessed when I get on something. I can't. I'm either 1,000% in or I'm literally not in at all. And I'm 1,000% in right now.
Correct. Is this like the Peloton phase?
This is way beyond the Peloton phase.
Oh.
This is the number of supplements and amino acids and things I'm taking right now is dumb. It's dumb.
Yep. Some BCAAs. Why not just eat eggs?
Caitlin Moore says that she wow. Big news there. Caitlin notes that she's more uncomfortable with the AI there, as well as or more uncomfortable with AI is she is the baby voice. So that your sister's just weighing in. Caitlin Moore. Got more takes now. More takes.
I think she actually did change her name. So I think that's not just Facebook official. I think that's official.
Elanius girls are running wild.
They are. Our parents are really disappointed.
They should be thrilled. They should be very proud of you. Jeremiah says they had Jack's Donuts CEO on this week. Not helpful for Pete's Greek yogurt diet. It is a game changer. All right, let's go. Dame's what on 1 week sabbatical? What is he doing?
I don't know. I can't keep track. I feel like Dame, I don't know how he saves all his PTO for the fun summer and we're all here just like working away.
Is he possible he's in DC shaking his fist at Congress? Like I feel like
he's actually protesting on the Hill. Yes.
Oh man. All right. Let's keep it moving. We have a show. You programmed it. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right. Good morning, Leah. Good to be with you. Dame is not suspended, Jeremiah. Dame is definitely, if anyone ever gets suspended on the show, we all know who it's going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good luck running the tech on that show, Kristen and Dame.
Nope. We'll just have a little show sabbatical.
All right. It is odd. Like at some point I'm going to get suspended from the show and I don't even know who's going to suspend me, but it feels very likely.
Oh no, it's been a long time.
I feel like it's just like this has been a threat my entire existence back to first grade. It's always like if I'm just a millimeter from a joke too far where I'm like, oh, I'm in big trouble here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And occasionally you cross the line, but you learn that in elementary and then middle and then trips to the principal's office again in high school. And you just kind of get one per school and it calibrates you right.
I could relate to nothing less than what you just said.
I feel like I may have gotten in trouble in college too, but I don't remember. Chris notes that Lois, my AI, will likely eventually suspend me. Let's get going in 3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. You email us askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com. And I checked that email address. In fact, I emailed someone back from it just this week. If you email that email address, you may get emailed back. Your topic, your question may become this show. This show is co-hosted by none other than my friend Kristen Elanius. Hello, Kristen.
Hello, Pete.
And Damian Dunn, who is currently suspended. No, he's not. He's on vacation. Kristen, you sent me over a note yesterday, and it really struck a chord with me because it's one of those things that I've noticed in my 25 years in the financial business that is worth talking about, that is rarely talked about. Why really smart people make really dumb money decisions. So this entire episode is dedicated to understanding why really smart people make really dumb money decisions. Now, if you're listening right now and you're not smart, still, why? Well, clearly these people listening have poor taste. Yeah, if you're not smart, you don't fancy yourself as smart, even in like this reverse psychology way, where people are like, "Oh, I'm not that smart," but they're like, "Oh, I'm really smart." If you don't fancy yourself intelligent, and I'm being sincere here, you're going to see something that you've witnessed and observed amongst people who consider themselves intelligent, and it's honestly going to make you feel better about yourself. Now, if you're listening and you fancy yourself intelligence, prepare to see your life flash before your eyes right here on the radio. Kristen, where shall we begin?
I think we start with the stat from Lending Club in 2022, which was that 45% of Americans earning over $100,000 reported that they live paycheck to paycheck.
All right, I could spend an hour and a half on this statistic because there's so much within it. Let's just start with the percentage itself here for a moment. Nearly half of Americans who earn more than 100,000, who earn six figures or more, nearly half live paycheck to paycheck. I don't believe that can be explained away with cost of living. Do you?
I don't think so either. And it's so interesting because when you're talking to someone as a financial professional who makes less than, and everybody always calls it like six figures, right?
Yeah.
Someone who makes less than six figures, that's like this arbitrary like finish line almost, where it's like, well, when we make six figures or when I make six figures, I feel like I will have this financial freedom. And then what we see is that those on the other side of that, almost half of them are reporting that they're still living paycheck to paycheck.
Totally. Beyond that, I think because of social media and because of influencers, I think this is harder than ever before. Now, we're not saying people are not smart when they find themselves in this situation. We're also not saying that you have to be smart to make six figures. I think what we're saying as we explore this idea is that it does take a certain level of intelligence to put yourself in a position to make a certain amount of money. However, it also requires a pretty good set of disciplinary actions to remain solvent and stable during those times.
Yeah, that's interesting because you said social media. That feels a little old man gripey-y to me.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I am an old man and I am gripey. So what it is, fam.
Okay, we can blame social media, but also, and we had this conversation a long time ago on the show, it's not just about social media, it's about the negotiables of life are just so much less than they used to be. I mean, people love to blame things like inflation. Like, I feel like my paycheck's not keeping up. To me, it's not just about inflation. I think what people are really saying when they're making those points or those complaints is that they feel like so many of their dollars as a percentage aren't negotiable, that I have to pay for more than I've ever paid for before. And those things just cost what they cost.
I know in segment 2, we're talking about some smart people traps, but I'm going to get one out right now. And since I'm wearing the old man hat, primarily for sun protection, since I'm follically challenged. Kristen, I believe today people spend way too much on housing and they blame the market for that when in fact they should buy less house that isn't as nice as they wish it was. Or were, I don't know the grammar there. I think that's a big issue. I think people, because of media and the internet, they have a better look at other people's lifestyles and therefore they try to emulate it. And that is one of the number one reasons why people live paycheck to paycheck, because they're living beyond their means because of social pressure.
Yeah, unfortunately I can't disagree with your take there. I think that's exactly right. And we even see this, I follow people on social media who've expressed their hesitancy of showing more aspects of their life because they feel like it's not aesthetically pleasing. Like, I follow people who post recipes and they're like, well, I didn't used to post the recipes from my own kitchen because I felt like it wasn't nice enough. And so we do see that a lot. And that pressure, I mean, it's there. I don't know if it's as much as like, yeah, let's blame social media, but it is there.
Let me give you two really personal examples of this. The first is, again, I'm bad with time. If you ever listened to the show, I have no idea when this happened. It's probably 2012-ish. So Indianapolis Monthly, which is a popular publication, especially during that time, asked me to photograph an area of my house to send to them that speaks of my personality. This was like my budding time in Indianapolis as a media figure. And it was like they'd take Indianapolis style celebrities, which is nothing, and they would ask them to put a picture of their home or their special space so people could get a feel of what they're in. So I sent in a picture of a space in my house, and they never ran the feature. Right?
They didn't like your courtyard?
They didn't. I didn't. I don't know if I took a picture of the courtyard. I was this reading nook in my basement that I thought was nice, but it's to that point of I was fine with it. I was happy. I didn't feel bad about it. I sent it into this lifestyle magazine. It's like, nah, this isn't good enough. And I'm not hating on them for making that decision, but it shows that there's this standard of perceived wealth and stability that isn't to be trifled with.
Yeah, you didn't make the cut. Your reading nook wasn't it.
I never told Mrs. Planner that because I think she would have felt bad. And since she doesn't listen to the show, she'll never know. The other one, I've got a very good friend who is an influencer on Instagram, and she consistently uses her house as the anchor to look at all the success I've had. Look at all of these nice things. And by the way, you can buy these nice things at Amazon. So like truly, truly, truly influencer style stuff. And I look at it and it's beautiful. I mean, it's literally just a gorgeous home. It's so unattainable for 99% of her audience, yet it's held as the gold standard. And you can just feel people getting out over their skis to get that done.
Yeah, that's tough because, again, you see this picturesque home, and of course everybody wants that, but to your point, like, not attainable.
It is really nice. Anyway, Kristen, here's what we're going to do after the break. We just talked about one of these smart people traps, home ownership, and the choices we make in those homes. But coming up after the break, we're going to hit a few more, including investing, additional lifestyle creep, and halo effect. What is the halo effect? All that is next on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Kristen, it just occurred to me I have a heart out at 11.
Oh. Good.
Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him.
Next.
Okay, let's move on. Can we go?
Yeah, I guess you have a heart out.
Yeah,
Sure,
and you've got a coughing fit on the horizon.
Don't speak.
What losses did you take?
These are a mixture of different Halls cough drops that were just in my closet.
You have closet lozenges?
Like my hall closet where I keep my like extra towels and stuff, you know?
Wait a second.
It's not where you keep. I don't have a closet in my bathroom.
Oh, okay.
Like
gotcha.
like storage area. So like all the extra stuff is in the hall closet.
Yeah. I don't know who this is because it's a username. So I don't know. I do think the jump from magazines to social media makes it feel more like everyone is living like that. and it's normal and something you should be able or trying to keep up with.
Yeah.
There we go. Do we take viewer questions? Hello, Ryan. Ryan.
That's Ryan. We
Ryan.
just took yours.
Yeah. Just took that question. Yeah, we do. If you got a question, by all means, put it in there. We'll do what we can. Ryan and I went to school together. He's aged better than I have. Still has
Good
his
for you,
hair.
Ryan.
Linen closet is what you're referring to, as he notes. I just think it's odd that you've got like towels and lozenges in a door room, which is a closet.
And like my nail kit and stuff like that.
This is getting weird. What's a nail kit?
I have an at-home gel nail kit. That means nothing to you.
Is this like screws and nuts and bolts and nails, like a nail kit?
No. Nails.
Oh, fingernails.
Correct.
In 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner Show. Our goal is to nail this episode of the Pete the Planner Show, talking about why do really smart people make very subpar, suboptimal, vis-a-vis dumb financial decisions. Joining me is expert in all things dumb decisions, Kristen Elanius. Kristen, is that how you wanted to be introduced?
I love it. Right? That's so accurate.
Perfect. Kristen, can we talk about overconfidence bias? I tend to think this is more prominent in male humans than female humans, but I would love to talk about it.
I feel like that is true.
Okay. It's a consent.
I don't know. I was going to try and play devil's advocate, but I just feel like you're right.
Okay, so let's do this. There's a Fidelity study that suggests that 77% of investors rated themselves above average in investing skill. And the funniest part about that, of course, is that's actually impossible.
Yeah, that is so inaccurate. These people, no.
You could say there's a bunch below, there's a bunch average. So you wonder what percentage are actually average, because then it dictates what the other two groups are. Kristen, I'll tell you this right now. I think I'm an average investor. I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you.
Yeah, I would consider myself maybe slightly above average, but when you consider that you have years of experience in this field, we both have studied this field, we've both worked in the advisor space, and you and I are like, maybe average, maybe a little bit above, and then 77% of just investors think that they're above average. Maybe not.
I'm probably technically above average, but it just doesn't feel like it. And if I was answering this question from Fidelity, I would say average. So what makes a person, what are the elements that A, cause a person to think they're a better investor than they are? And B, to the point of this show today, theoretically, that's a smart person in the midst of a dumb decision. It is, in fact, dumb to believe you're doing something smart when you aren't.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. First of all, humble king right there. You saying that, well, I think I'm just average. That was really humble. I really appreciated that.
I thought I'd try it once.
Well, how did it feel?
Awkward.
Good.
Yeah.
So overconfidence, Pete, I really think that in my anecdotal experience, talking to people about their investments and being in the space for what has been largely a bull market, I really think that's where most of it comes from, is people have generally won since 2009 when it comes to their investments, independent of a couple small, truly blips in the market. And my perception is that leads people to believe that they're good investors when all you had to do really was be in the market to be a winner.
Gosh, that is so true. Now, there's a couple other elements here I want to explore. I have not been an investment advisor since the year 2012. I think I sold my practice in the fall of 2012, I believe. And so I haven't had those types of conversations in 13 years. But what I noticed back then is there were a lot of people who did not want market returns. They wanted to exceed market returns. Now, since that time, the market has been on absolute fire, to your point of You can be asleep and be doing nothing, zero trades, and be getting 18, 19% a year. And so does a person say, well, I'm above average because I do nothing, and it's sort of like this reverse thing? Or do they really take credit for being savvy?
I think people really think that they're savvy.
Oh, can we get uncomfortable for a second?
I guess.
I'm just trying to get suspended. I'm going to name two professions that I used to work with a lot back in the day. Yeah, sorry. And I'll tell you, this topic today was built for these two professions.
It hurts, but it's true.
And you already know what they are.
I know.
Okay, so culturally, for the last 100 years, the two professions that have always been deemed to be the most intelligent people in America are obviously Congress. No, I'm just kidding. Attorneys and physicians.
Yeah.
Attorneys and physicians. These people are really smart. Their brains work in an incredible way, and they're incredibly talented, and we're just sometimes grateful for them, especially one of the groups. The others, I wouldn't tell them one way or another because I don't want to get billed for the comment. I'll say this. It was my experience in 12 years of doing that and working with hundreds of doctors and lawyers that, like no other groups, they had so much overconfidence in their ability to not only make good investing decisions, but good financial decisions at all.
Yeah. I mean, haven't you just described the T's of the halo effect?
I believe I have. Success in one area, a career, income, assets leads to overconfidence in unrelated financial domains. You know, I can give you some pretty specific examples. I've talked about this one on the show before in a different way, but I had lunch one day with his partner at a law firm, emailed me out of the blue. Electronic mail still existed back in those times. My voice extra deep today. I'm really feeling like Barry White. I like it.
Oh.
Yeah, very bass heavy. Anyway, so we are eating lunch. And he's talking to me about his financial life. He clearly has something on his mind. He wanted to get off his chest. And he said, I make $400,000 a year. And the good news is I only have $100,000 in credit card debt. And it was the tone of the word only. Had he written it, it would have been italicized. And I'll never forget it. I remember I was eating a burger. I was at Petite Choux in Broad Ripple. I know the table I was sitting at. Sounds like such a place to go to a lunch to have this conversation. I'm taking the burger to my face, and he says that, and I just, before I take a bite, I put the burger back down. I'm like, tell me more. Tell me more about that. That's wild.
That is wild to think that you have a quarter of your gross income, which at that income level, the word gross is really important there. To say, I have this in unsecured debt is a wild statement.
I think this also gets in, Kristen, to the overconfidence bias. And so I think very smart, successful people believe so much in their ability to manifest successful solutions.
Right.
They're willing to do dumb stuff because they feel like they can write a check that the intelligence can cover.
Yeah, 100%. And in some ways, that's such an asset when you believe that, like, because admittedly, I kind of have that mentality of like, if I want to do something, I'm going to figure out a way to do it and be good at it. Like that's just, or I'm not going to embark on it and I'm going to outsource it to somebody else. So I think that that's what leads to success for a lot of people, but it can be really dangerous, particularly in combination with some of these other examples we've given, like halo effect or lifestyle creep and things like that.
I feel like my entire career has been defined by just these bold claims that then I somehow find a way to deliver on. I mean, even to this point of like trusting your brain to figure it out. Kristen, I had to give a presentation earlier this week on a topic I had never talked about, and I hadn't had time to prepare, or I chose to not prepare. And I gave myself 45 minutes the morning of the presentation, 2 hours before the presentation, to build the entire deck and develop some level of expertise around this very specific topic. And it was all based in this idea that I had confidence in myself to deliver on it. Yet what I did was dumb, arguably dumb, right? Because that's just a poor decision.
Not good. Not good planning skills.
Let's do this after the break. I'm currently obsessed with dopamine and its impact on the body. And so I want to talk about how sometimes dopamine is the culprit here when smart people make dumb decisions here on the Pete the Planner show. Do I not have a deeper voice today? I'm calmer. The pre-workout's wearing off or something.
I think that it maybe changed a little bit when you were like, oh, by the way, I have a hard out.
Oh, you think I'm saving energy so we can get through this faster?
Yeah, I think that you like dialed it down. I think your voice maybe got a little lower. I think that was it.
I have a comment. Maybe I'll save it for the air here since it's in relation to the topic. I usually just say dumb things during the break, so I don't have anything dumb to say right now. Let's do this. Let's crank through this and then evaluate the time, and then we can have some fun between the next segment if we have time.
All right.
Is that okay with you?
That's fine with me.
This is for information purposes only. It's not the Swiss financial planning device. Consult a financial advisor.
That person gets their license on Tuesday.
Ancient.
Oh my gosh.
I'll
tell you, it's going to be great though, because I'm so sick of driving her around.
That's fair.
Can you take me to Sephora?
She does not say that.
Not in that voice, but she does say, can you take me to Sephora? She says it in this voice. Can you take me to
She's a Sephora girl, not Ulta.
both? I mean, why limit yourself? You want to talk about smart people making dumb decisions.
Yes,
You're
yes.
a 16-year-old.
The world is her oyster. Volcano Los Dos.
Yeah. Kristen, someday you will have a 16-year-old daughter.
Someday.
It will be 16 years and 6 months from now. Not
Yes.
6 months. How many months? When do you do? October or something?
Yeah, the beginning of October.
Oh my gosh.
She's cooking.
Yeah. What size today? What size do we know that? Are we talking about this on the air?
Yeah, a papaya.
No one knows what a papaya is.
Exactly. And you and I have had this conversation. Last week, she was the size of a large banana.
She's
What
a
does that
mangosteen.
mean?
It's like, what?
What does that mean?
No one knows. It's silly. Well, she's the size of a golden beet. It's very caramel explanations.
Indeed.
You know? And when they start out, they're like, that's the size of Israeli couscous. Like, what are you talking about? That's a plucot.
Well, and I also feel like, is this a genetically modified sweet potato or an organic sweet potato? Because there's quite a difference in size. Let's be real.
It's a pomelo. Okay, let's
I
go.
don't know what
3,
it is.
exactly 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show, trying to put a little fruit in your weekend fruit basket here on the show. What does that mean, Kristen?
I don't know. what that
All
means.
right. Hope you're having a good weekend, everybody. If you're listening on the podcast, which you can find at wherever you get your podcast, just search Pete the Planner Show, the Pete the Planner Show, that is, or watch the show on YouTube, which more and people are doing. I can't talk now. YouTube.com/Pete the Planner. Kristen today talking about how very smart people make dumb financial decisions on a regular basis. And now we want to explore the idea of how to outsmart your smart self. How can we put some behavioral tricks and processes in place so we outsmart ourselves trying to do smart things when those smart things end up being dumb?
Indeed.
Okay, well, let's get after it. How about this idea of friction design? Como se dice friction design? What is that? What are we doing here?
So this is very James Clear Atomic Habits, which is this idea that as people, we are less likely to do things that we have to put in more effort or there are more steps in order for us to achieve. So the idea is to put friction between you and the bad habit that you're trying to break. So maybe you unlink your Apple Pay from your phone at the convenience store, or maybe you remove your credit cards from your Amazon Prime account. You know, this doesn't work if you're someone like me who is, for whatever reason, able to memorize these numbers. But removing your cards from your browsers or not saving them to your digital wallet, a pretty easy way to get in your own way when it comes to purchasing.
You know what is fascinating about that list you just gave is that it is incredibly 21st century. And I don't mean that critically, but what's weird to our earliest part of this discussion is some of these challenges do feel modern. They do feel antagonized by digital reality. Whereas if you're a smart person making dumb decisions in the 1980s, you're just like spending a lot of money to feather your hair, drive a Camaro. I don't know. But these definitely feel like modern solutions to modern problems.
They are. And I have a really good example of how I did this very thing, which is where I should have put a little friction between me and a decision. So we just recently purchased a new house, and our outdoor shop does not, which Damien would probably call a barn, but our outdoor shop only had one key. And that's a really dangerous thing in our house, to only have one key to a lock, because my other half is really, really bad with keys. So instead of going to the hardware store and making another key for what, couple bucks, maybe? I don't know, when I've not made a key and I couldn't tell you how long, I bought a digital lock. That's a modern solution to a modern problem.
Was it a Schleg?
It is not, no. I did think of that though when I was buying it.
Pre-commitment strategies set rules when calm, and it works because it anchors behavior and logic before emotion can hijack. I love this. I love the idea of you gotta wait, you gotta walk away. It's the email rule for me. When you get something heated and you want to fire off some pithy response, sleep on that, Queen.
Yeah. And I also, there was this study, and I can't remember the exact percentages, which always makes me look really credible, that was done about when persons pre-commit their tax refunds and how much more likely they are to then save those dollars. If before they know the amount, they say, I'm saving 50% or I'm saving 75%, how much more likely we are. And it's a significant difference. I don't remember what the percentage was, but that's exactly what we're talking about here.
I want to go down a rabbit hole about pre-committing tax refunds. I mean, the entire industry is actually trying to get you to get an advance on your tax refund so they can get a portion of your tax refund. And it's not so you can save the money faster, because that would make no sense. It's so you can spend the money. You know what? In my cynical worldview, in the next few weeks, let's do a show on how financial institutions act in bad faith to take you further away from your financial goals.
Is that cynical, or is that just like accurate?
I think it's just a quest to never have a sponsor again.
Love that for us.
Let's talk about identity alignment. What does that mean?
Yeah. So as people, we need to see ourselves in the change. We need to say that Kristen is a person who's capable of running a half marathon or doing a half Ironman, or she's capable of saving X amount of dollars. So saying that you are the kind of person who just does these things, we sometimes have to be careful, because when we don't then follow through with those strategies, we turn into the person who has the Peloton membership, but they don't use it. But seeing yourself as what you want to be is really, really important for us psychologically.
I kind of personally combine that with a pre-commitment strategy, where I just commit to things publicly so that I force myself to do them so I'm not shamed.
That's so good, because that's very, we've talked about her before on the show too. That's very Gretchen Rubin. So her idea is that about 60% of us thrive with external accountability, and you put yourself in positions where you have public external accountability, where people are going to ask you, Pete, how's your Greek yogurt going? How are those amino acids treating you? And it's like, well, I can't say that I've been skipping the gym because publicly I committed to this. And so you leverage that for good.
I've done that for years. I want to be friends with someone named Gretchen, so I can just call him Gretch. Does that occur to you?
No.
Okay. What about mental accounting? Acknowledging how we categorize money and correct irrational behaviors. How much does that matter?
Mental accounting is both one of my favorite and least favorite things in behavioral finance, because when leveraged for good, it can be so impactful. But the classic example of this is, and we've talked about this on the show before, is when someone receives an inheritance and it's like, well, Mom wanted us to take the kids to Disney.
Boy.
It's like we treat that money differently because of where it was sourced, when the reality is the next dollar should already be planned for regardless of how you received or earned it.
Look, I never want to get an inheritance because it comes on the heels of loss.
Right.
And I've never even considered what I would do with one if I got one. Like I've done this long enough. And I've seen enough of the stories you just described, Kristen, especially the pre-mental spending, that I don't want to do it. But I wonder, like so many things in life, like parenting and aging and whatever, you have one take when you've never experienced it. But as you experience it, can you even keep up with the take you had when you hadn't, right? Like I'm a little bit nervous when I get there of going, well, so-and-so would want what? Well, the answer is they would want to be alive. But beyond that, I've got to be honest. I want to be able to check myself in that moment.
Yeah, it's really hard. But to my earlier point, I mean, using mental accounting for good can be a really incredible thing when we're thinking through the lens of money in advance of having it. But most of the time, our mental accounting as a concept we're using it in a negative way.
Couple more to consider here. Implementation intentions, good alliteration there. Creating if-then rules and scenarios. What might a person apply that?
Yeah. So like, let's say you're shopping on Amazon when you're in bed, you're just scrolling. It's like, if I put something in my cart after 10 p.m. because our good decision making erodes over the day, we're actually more likely to make bad decisions at the end of a day. Say then I won't buy it until the next morning versus saying letting myself purchase it when I have been worn down by the decisions of the day.
If the Pacers are down 15 points in the fourth quarter, then I will not go to bed because they are likely to come back and win.
Yes.
Yeah. Finally, social proof. Recognize how peers influence spending patterns. Is that like the public accountability or not?
I think it's more like follow the people who emulate the life that you want to lead versus, or people that look like you or look like your goals, but being mindful of maybe what it takes for them to achieve them.
It feels so dangerous, if I'm being honest, because it feels like you want to emulate their material possessions as opposed to their mindset, because you might not know their mindset. But if you do, by all means, follow a mindset.
Yeah, that one is a little tricky.
A little tricky. Speaking of tricky, it's coming back is the biggest waste of money of the week and the news right here on the Pete the Planner Show. Boy, that was good inflection at the end of that word. I like the NPR-ish tone of my voice right now. I'm very calm.
I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I hit my desk in that segment. Oh,
you hit your desk.
You didn't see it? It shook my computer.
I don't know anything about computers. I'm not a doctor.
Right.
You know what angers doctors? And it certain doctors.
This feels like a trap.
Yeah, absolutely a trap. Is when you're in their office and you call them by their first name. It just, I kind of love it. I kind of love it. I don't know why. Just feels like, yeah, I went to college too, Gary.
I don't feel like my OB would be that mad.
Do it next time.
I don't see her for a while, though.
Well, do it next time.
Okay, I'll try and remember.
Or what? Better yet, ask if you can call them that and have them say no.
Yikes, that's so awkward.
Yeah. Hey, can I call you Carol? No, my name is Debbie.
No. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway. Let's go. Oh, how much time we got? 16 minutes left. We got a 9 minute and 40 seconds. We can have 3 minutes of frivolity if you want. Can I offer you 180 seconds of fun?
Yes, please proceed. It feels forced now, but yeah.
Oh boy, this does feel forced. In about a week, people will be able to get a copy of "It's Not Your Fault, But It Is Your Problem." I enjoy it. It is good. I don't know. I think it's a good book. especially for people who care about this sort of stuff, which are like executive leaders and HR people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think about it through the lens too of like as a leader at an organization, but maybe you're not in HR or maybe you're not an exec, but you're like middle management. I think the premise of the book is a really great read for someone like that because you can look through the lens of how to be thinking about these decisions before you maybe get to those leadership roles. So I think it's great for even more than that.
There's a little pull out section. You know how graphically a section can be pulled out with like a little
Yes.
box or something? This section is called Daily Pay, the vaping of financial wellness. So there's hot takes. I have a call on Monday with the CEO of one of the largest daily pay companies in the world. So I hope he doesn't do research by listening to this podcast. Such an idiot.
Feels so dangerous.
It's so dumb.
Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him.
All right, let's go to biggest waste of money.
Okay. It's just me. Audience, can you please guess since Dame's not here so that
Guess quick.
I can look less dumb? Thanks.
Well, 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week, right here on the Pete the Planner show, is the Jacob & Co. and Bugatti Calandre table clock. Having teamed up before on intricate supercar-inspired watches, Jacob & Co. and Bugatti. I'm saying timeout. Hold on. Where's my timeout?
Timeout.
I'm saying Bugatti like a hill jack. Bugatti have come together again on a Type 41 Royale-inspired table clock dubbed the Calandre, which translates to radiator grill.
Timeout.
How does Calandre translate to radiator grill?
That seems made up. Truly.
There's no way. All right, we're jumping on the Google. There's no way.
You dismissed Lois for the rest of the day. This was a perfect question for her.
Okay, I could have asked Lois, but she was freaking me out. Okay.
And you told her she got the rest of the day off.
It does translate to radiator grill.
No.
No way. Anywho, back on the show. Complete with a bold red Bugatti macaron at the top. On the sides are a pair of intricately sculpted dancing elephants crafted by French crystal maker Lalique, which are a callback to the Royale's hood ornament. The clock is powered by an 189-component Jacom 58 movement with a vertical flying tourbillon prominently featuring at 6 o'clock. What are these words?
I don't know.
Itself a callback to the complication's historical use as a way to combat the effects of gravity on vertically mounted timepieces.
Oh my.
Man, you know what?
Time out.
Time out.
Don't you
The
hate
effects of gravity?
on vertically mounted timepieces? A big problem in our. I think about this.
Keeps
World
me up
hunger.
at night.
Yeah, there's war, tariffs, and vertically mounted gravitational impact of timepieces. Kristen, how much does this stupid thing cost?
This thing is, first of all, it's a miss that Dame is not on the show. This you should have saved for him. I feel like he would have loved this copy and correcting your pronunciation of words that are probably related to cars that he actually knows how to pronounce. It's got crystal. It's Bugatti. This thing is, you know what? This thing is 6 figures, Pete.
Big Rick Swink suggests that is $155,000, when in fact the price of the Jacob & Co. by Bugatti Calandre table clock is $240,000 American dollars. Kristen, what's in the news this week?
Americans are finally saving almost what they're supposed to for retirement. Workers are putting away a record share of their income for retirement. The average savings rate in 401k plans rose to a record high.
Okay.
What
Does
is
this
the
include
record
the
high?
match? Does this include the match?
It does include the match.
It does include the match.
Yes. And this is according, do you want to know who reported it? I feel like it was Fidelity.
Okay, well, that's who I thought it was. 9.2%.
14.3%.
No way.
So says Fidelity,
No
according
way.
to a Fidelity Investments analysis of millions of accounts as reported by the Wall Street Journal.
I don't buy it.
Okay, so rates have risen from the 13.5% in 2020, according again to Fidelity, the largest administrator of 401ks in the nation, with about 25,000 client companies. Today's savings rate includes, do you want to guess what the employer contribution of that 14.3% is on average?
Well, I accounted in my head for 4, but the answer is probably 6,
4.8.
which is neither 4 nor 6.
It's right in the middle.
Okay, 4.8, and the other one was 14 point what?
14.3.
So people are putting on average 10.1% of their income in.
So the context here is that there's a couple things that follow up with this. So more than a third of companies that use an automatic enrollment now start workers at 5% of pay or higher with an automatic increase.
Okay. That's fair.
So it's part of it.
That is totally, I mean, plan design is working apparently, because prior to that function and that ability, we were scraping 7%.
So do you want to guess generationally what Fidelity reports the average contribution rate is? So we've got baby boomers, Gen X, and millennials.
Who puts the most in?
Or the percentages of each.
Oh, I'm going to go 15% for boomers.
Okay.
Gen X. Gen X. And this is total contribution, or what is it? Total.
Yes, this is also total.
Oh, well, I want to go to 19% for boomers. Okay. I want to go to 16% for Gen X. And then millennials?
Yep.
13%.
You're pretty close. So you were a little high on boomers, 17.2%. Gen X was 15.4%, and millennials are 13.5%.
See, look, hey, damn, this old man can still dance. I don't know what that means. What else is in the news?
As the Pacers make their first appearance in the finals since 2000, for those who caught the game on what would that be? The economic benefits are clear. Recent studies indicate that NBA Finals games generate, on average, visitor spending of about $6 million, boosting the local economy, as reported by WRTV.
That's nice. One of my best friends forever, since 6th grade, is deeply involved with conventions and those sorts of things in downtown Indy. And occasionally he'll tell me about the impact of these big events. Like, you know, I think once he told me the Indianapolis 500, the Indy 500, I'm going to be making this up. It's something like a $750 million impact that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has a year on Indianapolis. I was just like, man, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I totally buy that.
What else you got?
The Trump administration changes its mind and won't cut Social Security benefits over defaulted student loans. The U.S. Department of Education is pausing its plan to garnish people's Social Security benefits if they have defaulted on their student loans, a spokesperson for the agency told CNBC. The development is an abrupt change in policy by the administration, who announced on April 21st that it would resume collection activity on the country's $1.6 trillion student loan portfolio. More than, do you want to get... this one's kind of hard. More than X federal student loan borrowers age 62 and older are in default on their federal student loans.
It's a number. It's like a number of people.
Correct.
4 million.
62 and older in default?
Well, look, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't know everything and make great decisions all the time.
Fair enough. It's almost 500,000. It's 450,000.
Yeah, like I said, 550,000. I gotta be honest. I was shocked when I saw this news story this week. Shocked.
Really?
Why? Yes. It goes again. I don't want to say it. How do I say this differently?
Say what you mean what you say.
I thought that there was an appropriately hard stance on student loan default that has come out over the last 6 weeks or so. And I felt this was inconsistent with that. And so that's the cleanest way I can say it.
That's fair. I also think it's an interesting take, because if someone is their argument was that a large percentage of these people, though it didn't say in the article, would be on Social Security or drawing their Social Security. The reality is, if these persons were on an income-driven repayment plan, their payment would likely be little to nothing anyway. So I don't know if it's just a way for the administration to make it look like, hey, we're giving a reprieve for our aging Americans that has existed since the beginning of IDR plans.
I think that's consistent with what I'm thinking here, right? It's that data and logic prevailed, but the optics of being able to say we're sticking to our guns and people got to pay for it, I thought that would win out over the other side of optics. But anyway, Kristen, fun show this week. It was a good time. So why smart people sometimes make dumb decisions. Anyway, well, that's it. I'm out of words. Kristen, have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Everybody else, sending you good vibes, because good vibes are all that's in the budget. I'm Pete the Planner, and this is the Pete the Planner Show. Jason asked, why isn't Pete here in a Pacers jersey? Well, I wore my Pacers jersey to work yesterday. Kristen, I did not wear an undershirt. I just brought the big guns out and made everyone uncomfortable for 8 working hours.
Dave Portnoy did the same, so good call.
That's a low blow. What are you doing? You did it on purpose.
I did.
It's more shocking coming from an old man than it is from...
How old do you think Dave Portnoy is?
43.
Honestly, don't know.
All right, let's take a look. We got the I have Bing right here. And Lois would know. He is 48. He's actually older than me. Boy. But let's be honest here. Let's all be honest. I act much older than Dave Portnoy.
Well, yeah, but he's also in an area that requires you to continue to appear like young and hip. Like, his business is just totally different. He's not allowed to like age.
Daddy's hip. Okay.
Oh my.
I gotta go. Kristen, good luck with your life. Everyone else, stay getting money. All right, we got to bounce.